Hello, everybody. Welcome along. This is the half-time stream, the Benjamin Bloom show for Norwich versus Southampton, and it is Norwich 0, Southampton 0. Pretty tentative stuff, similar than what we saw at Villa, between Villa and Sheffield United. Southampton having the better after Norwich made a good start, lacking intensity a little bit. Does kind of subscribe to the theory that it's going to take 2, 3, 4 games for these Premier League teams to be back up to standard. Pretty low on chances, 1 attempt on target, but Southampton did hit the bar in that first half. Get your comments in what you thought of the first half and how is the second half going to pan out. Remember, Norwich, different system than we're used to for them. Dermot is up front with Pukki. Not really worked thus far. The midfield is depending on how you look at these things. McLean has been back a lot, so it's not exactly a diamond. Tribal's definitely sitting, and the idea is that Cantwell and Buendia are narrow. But then when when McLean comes back, does look more like a 4-1-3-2 and not as fluid as you've seen Norwich under Daniel Farke. So possibly we are expecting that system to maybe change, maybe even before the hour mark, maybe at half time. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Oliver says Norwich looked really poor, gave the ball away many times. Nedown says, BBC Championship correspondent. Yes, I was today, wasn't I? Check that article out. ADT says Norwich need to win this if they want to stay up. Trevor says, God, the Premier League is boring. Dan says, you can see Norwich are rusty, not used to the system. Norwich look okay. I do worry for Southampton, half-hearted penalty shout. Ian says, quite dull. And Bailey says Redmond is incredible. I don't think there was much incredible about that first half. Let's have a little look. I'll just read Mike's comment as well. He says Norwich look like they will get caught out at the back. GameXO says, I thought this was live on YouTube. You should be live on YouTube with my stream at the moment. Hopefully it's all public and ready to go over there. Yeah, all looking good. Right, let's go through the first half. So we get the players taking the knee. A little bit different this time. We get a whistle. So it's not actually, during the game at any point. So we get a whistle, then the knee, and then the whistle again for the start of the game. Whether or not this is going to continue, I would have thought it'll probably last as long as the Black Lives Matters on the shirt, maybe just for this first round of games. We will see what the players have planned. It was a good start from Norwich. As I said, they had the territory. They got the fullbacks forward. Nice and bright. Southampton couldn't get out for the first 3, 4, 5 minutes. Norwich 4 attacking set plays, but couldn't make any of them count. McLean with the first shot on target here. Well, excuse me, not on target. Edge of the box, drifts it just wide there with the left foot as the Norwich system does become clear. And as we guessed before, 2 up front and, maybe 4-1-3-2 or a diamond, depending on in or out of possession there. 7th minute, a nice step over from Pukki. Lewis breaks down the side, back to Pukki. He always makes the right decisions, Pukki. Very rarely gets one of these wrong. Plays it into Dermot. Pretty poor from Dermot. Comes kind of back inside, lets all the defenders get back, and his shot is deflected over. He either needs to go outside on the right foot or hit that first time with the left foot with the time he's got there. There's a big breakaway from the corner here. Redmond maybe a little bit selfish there. Maybe could have slipped one of his colleagues in earlier. Comes back inside. It ends up being chipped back in from the next phase for Ings, who kind of heads it down the middle of the goal. Krull is wrong-footed, but gets his hand out and makes the save there fairly easily. Looks like Southampton are fairly happy to let Norwich try and play out, snap in with the press, counter, and this starts to work for Southampton around the 20-minute mark, and pretty much for 15, 16 minutes thereafter. Southampton do have most of the territory there. Godfrey nearly lets Ings in. A few people mentioned in the comments there that Norwich kind of architected their own downfall. There were a couple of giveaways there. A clever corner on 28 from Saints Ward-Prowse, if you remember, Teddy Sheringham and Darren Anderton. Similar one, but the runners go in and it goes behind all of them. It's Armstrong with the shot. If he can get that towards the corner and a decent connection, I know that's Saint the Bleeding obvious, but he does neither, and Krul gets behind it and makes the save. Big chance of the half, if you like, was on 33. Campbell robbed on halfway. Stevens steps out, takes the ball, comes through, breaks the entire Norwich midfield there, and you've got a 3-on-3. Unfortunately, you've got a centre-half in the 10 position here. He has Obafemi to his right. He has Ings to his left. I guess on paper you'd play in Ings, given he's probably the superior striker. He's definitely the superior striker of the two. I just felt Obafemi had more space ahead of him. He was a bit narrower. He goes to Ings. He takes it first time. Krill's got his angles right. So Ings goes for the top corner. I'm seeing a replay of it right now, and it hits the base. Quite unlucky. I do think Krill is beaten there. Did look like Obafemi might have been the better pass, but maybe Stevens trusted Ings more in that situation. Best and closest opening of the game there. Dermich pulls wide here. Norwich breakaway. First moment for them for maybe 20, 25 minutes. Here, they couldn't get out. He pulls wide into Cantwell, onto McLean again. McLean, it looked like a player who was trying to get into the 10 position, but had done too much defending in the half, and it was a bit of a tame, tired shot, if we can say. Right at the end of the half, couple of dangerous free kicks. Buendia swings one in, but closer goes too early. It's a good disciplined line from Southampton for the offside there. And then Ward-Prowse, you expect better from him there, puts it straight in on to Tim Krul. So pretty even for the first 10 minutes. Southampton definitely on top. No big chances. I mean, Ings is a reasonable distance out and on the angle. I know he engineers a good shot, but I think most people in the chat will go on to it in a second here. Most people in the chat acknowledging Southampton the better. So I'd be interested in what people think in terms of a substitution for Norwich. Maybe pulling out Dermich, putting a number 10 in and going to their normal 4-2-3-1. That would seem to suit a bit better and make them flow. Maybe Che Adams as well might have a shout in over Femi there in terms of running the channels. They have been looking for that pass a couple of times. Right, let's have a little look at some of the comments, see what you guys think. Here, Bailey says feeling a draw in the end. Hip to the game, thinks Norwich can take it. Remember, Norwich will create chances. They're just very open. Let's just say. Oliver says no crowd playing its part here. Watching without the fake noise. Interesting here in the chat. I'm watching with the fake noise, Oliver. So I heard the apology for swearing that the commentator gave, but. Yes. Charlie says, Ben, I know it wasn't, but do you think it was a penalty? I think Charlie's talking about the little shove by closer on Obafemi. No, I didn't think there was anything in that. Carl says it was better than Villa when Grealish took a knee. I thought it was going for a free kick. That's naughty, Carl. Naughty. Milton No says, is that a half a bottle of red behind you? Yes, just less than half. So check in at full time for the full-time stream and see how much of that bottle is left. If this stays 0-0, I might push on a little bit more. With that, Dan isn't enjoying Roy Keane there. I'm sure most Ipswich fans can enjoy with him there. Needown says, Norwich looks to have gone backwards from last season or is a very average Premier League team, a lot better than top Championship clubs. It's a difficult one to answer that, isn't it, Needown, because Norwich were, and I understand, Norwich were able to pretty much play all-out attack for a lot of last season, and they just can't do that this season. So, Big Smoke says, do I support Norwich? Absolutely not. I just had a shot there as my Ipswich scarf, but we are doing this game tonight as part of the lockdown content. In fact, Carl says, he's a big Ipswich man, of course. He is. ADT says, I think Norwich might win this. Big Smoke says, seen you on Talk Norwich City. Yeah, big friends with Jack Reeves. I've been on Talk Norwich City many times indeed. Matthew says, Max Aarons looks so mint. Nasty bump for Max Aarons in the first couple of minutes. Let's just quickly, we'll go through a few stats here. Norwich, 57% to 43. I think that shows the Southampton game plan's kind of working, because I suspect a lot of that possession would have been across the back four and around the sides, and Southampton snipping in on that to have more of the, the kind of useful possession. Really, 2 attempts on target from Saints, 1 for Norwich, 2 off for Norwich, 1 for Saints. 3 block shots for Norwich, 1 for Saints. No high quality chances, really. I'm not classing that. Ings one, he had to take it first time and he's outside on the angle. Not classing that as a big chance, however good the player is. As you'd expect, Norwich 210 passes to 153 for Saints. Be very, very interesting to see, as I said, whether I don't think we'll see anything from Mr. Hasenhüttl, but I think we'll see something from Daniel Farke between. I don't think he'll go straight away at half time. Watch me be wrong in 2 minutes, but I don't think Dermich is long for this game. Going up to the hour mark. Let's have a little look here. Jaggy says they need 2 number 9s. Who's that? Both teams. Jack says pretty boring game so far. Yeah, I think we agree. Michael says Pookie not into it in it first half. Yeah, thank you for Michael for his super chat earlier. If you want to support the channel, you can hit a donation or a super chat there and donate me some money. That'd be wonderful. Going to be out of work in September, but I'll stop moaning about that. I think Pookie prefers a number 10 behind him, and just to get moving rather than maybe forward alongside him. Dan says I think we'll lose from a set piece again. Charlie says Pookie doesn't look himself, but still dangerous. I would agree with that. Obafemi is a poor man's Keenan Davis, says hip to the game. We saw Keenan Davis play quite well for Villa, bit of a bigger player. Big Smoke says, I want to know if Closer is making a difference. You would think, is he not Norwich's record signing? Big player for Norwich. I know he hasn't played for ages and ages, but he should, in theory, be making a big difference. Kieran asks, what am I doing for Saturday and Sunday games? Yes, I will be doing the Leeds game on Sunday, Cardiff Leeds, and I'll do Fulham Brentford. We'll see what instructions I've got for my day tomorrow as to whether I get to do a second game, but we try and fit the Championship review in at some time. Julian says, will he give Ida a chance second half in place of Dermich? Be interesting. If he's going to stick with the same system, then there'd be some sense in that. Ida, young Norwich reserve striker. I can just see with people like Vrancic on the bench, it's more likely that it'll go to 4-2-3-1, and there won't be a front two. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. He knows what he likes, Daniel Farke, doesn't he? Southampton players coming out, they had a pretty good first half. We said in the preview chat, if I can do that, and just bring up the table quickly. A draw is a lot more used to Southampton than it is to Norwich. Whether that is a tactical thought for Daniel Farke or not, I don't know, because one would think any more attacking and they do risk losing this one. It's that knife edge of tactical stuff. Hip to the game says, see you at full time as the players are coming out. You can join me at full time, I'm guessing, with the drinks breaks and with the stoppage time around 7:55 p.m. We'll be back, hopefully with some goals to talk about. I'm just seeing up on my feed here, Team Pookie with a lovely cleanly shaven head back out. The sun is shining in Norwich, so we're ready to go for the second half. As always, hit subscribe, ring the bell, follow on Twitter, on Instagram, support the channel with a super chat donation there, or follow and subscribe on Patreon to support the channel. Already kicked off on Sky, so my stream's behind, so I am going to say farewell to you lot. Please come back 7:55 for the full-time stream. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the second half.